Hello, it's me, Magical Girl ESGOO, here to read out some ID kits from Limbus Company. You can't see it currently, but there are 5 or 6 entire pages, like both of these IDs, which, by the way, these are terrible quality. I don't know why. Don't worry, I'll be reading it for you, but I apologize for that. That's just literally how they are on Twitter. But there's whole second pages. I haven't read any of it yet, but I saw like 6 passives on Rodion, so I'm just gonna try and make this video be below 30 minutes. I'm probably going to fail, though. Lobotomy E.G.O. in the name of love and hate, Don Quixote. Probably the most anticipated ID ever. Literally, there's been fan art of this ID since the inception of Limbus itself. Obviously, of course, she has to have 6 skills. We knew this basically from the trailer. The first one is, by Manager Esquire's orders, I am here. Skill names are just getting longer and longer. On use, consume X love/hate count on self to gain coin power. I assume that's some kind of charge mechanic. Gain coin power for every X love or hate, and gain love hate. On hit, gain love hate. On hit, inflict rupture. I don't know. She's rupture? Oh, okay, she becomes sinking. Wait, oh, I just realized she has a lot of envy. She is double envy. She's actually, but we already have Middle Dawn for the Envy Resonance team, otherwise this would be really, really good for it. Her second skill is with love. Yeah. On use, deal more damage for every love/hate on self. Consume X love/hate count on self to gain coin power, and gain love/hate count. On hit, gain love/hate count. On hit, inflict rupture. Inflict mark of villainy against the main target next turn. I'll circle back to this once we get through just all the base skills. Skill 3 is Arcana Beats with 2 exclamation points. And Minor Arcana Slave with 3 or 4, hard to tell. Thank you for the pixels. Deal more damage for every magical arcana on self. On use at X plus love/hate, deal plus love/hate times Y % more damage. At X plus love/hate, gain base power, gain coin power for every X love/hate count consumed, gain love/hate after attack, gain magical arcana. It feels like I'm reading off things for an entirely different game. All 3 of these are unbreakable coins, and the last 2 inflict rupture. Very, very, very simple on-hit effects for an ID like this. Usually there's a lot more, but there is also, 3 other skills. Skill 1-2, where are the villains? Deal more damage for hysteria on self. Consume love-hate. Okay, she loses SP. That's expected. All that is basically the same as the previous, but it's base power, of course, instead of coin power, because those are negative, clearly. Get out of my head. Yeah. I feel that. Gain base power for every hysteria on self at X hysteria. Gain attack weight, not X plus. Interesting. That implies that it's probably at the max of whatever hysteria is. Deal less damage against sub-targets. Huh. Bit of fell bullet inspiration there. Consume X love hate to gain base power, gain love hate, lose SP, gain love hate, inflict sinking, inflict mark of villainy. Okay, so basically the same thing but with sinking. And then reversed beats / reversed arcana slave. This is more text, this is more like it. This skill deals less damage against sub-targets. On use, consume all hysteria, gain clash power for every stack consumed, gain clash power for every X love-hate consumed, deal more damage for every love-hate on self. For attack, consume all magical arcana on self, which is only gained on, yeah, literally the skill 1, or the skill 3, 1, I guess. Gain attack weight for every stack consumed. If the skill consumed X hysteria, gain attack weight. If the skill only has a single target, or for focus encounters apart, deal plus X times attack weight minus Y % more damage. Okay. Before attack, lose base power for every cracked coin. Sure. That's actually interesting. That's something we haven't had for unbreakables usually just lose the coin power because this is a negative skill that has to lose base power. We might have actually seen that on LCE's song before, but I don't remember exactly. I'll put it on screen if that is the case. Turn end, if this unit isn't at X SP and is at less than Y SP, heal SP, heal more SP, the lower this unit's SP value is from Y. Wild Hunt, Heathcliff, Lament, Mourn, Despair, basically. So I assume this gets you back into the happy time. And obviously they are unbreakable coins that inflict sinking. Okay, well, at a glance, not too complicated, right? This will be a very simple video then. Except, there's a whole other page. Now this one I don't think was as loaded as, okay, it is indeed unique charge. So she's charge, rupture, sinking. Is that the first ID with 3 archetypes? No, because Rabbit Heathcliff is charge, bleed, rupture. Yeah, and some other, like, launch IDs. I don't think it's happened since the launch of the game, though. Like, of the 7 core archetypes, having 3 of them, that's pretty rare. I forgot we have a defense skill that we hadn't even got to yet. Rapid Chant, Clashable Guard, because of course we can't have regular defense skills anymore. On use, gain base power for every Hysteria, gain Love Hate, and it's unbreakable. First passive, in the name of Love Hate, alert, Ego Gear Sync Threshold exceeded. Also, I do like how there's 2 exclamation points, which is kind of like how Spanish does it, though they're not upside down. Gain love and hate every time this unit consumes X cumulative love/hate count in this encounter. So is love-hate different from love-hate count? Is that potency? Max count 20. Resource used by certain skills for additional effects. Its count could go up to 20. Count lowers by 1 at the end of each turn. Okay, literally just charge. Nothing mentioning potency. So I don't know about that. Because it specifies count, I think, in most of her skills, if not all of them. Count. This is not count. Okay, I assume there's actually potency to that. The wording is not too clear about it, but that's good to know. Encounter start if this unit does not have Hysteria, gain Hysteria. Okay, so Hysteria is base stack of 0, max stack of 3. At turn end, at 0 or higher SP, lose 1 stack. At less than 0 SP, gain 1 stack. Base stack of 0. So it can be at 0 and stay around, I think is what it's implying. Like how you can have 0 charge count and still have charge potency, so you keep it around. If this unit does not have love hate, gain love hate. Okay, so you start with your 2 happy resource and despair resource. Turn start at 0 or higher SP, gain Here Comes Magical Girl, and lose regressive transformation reversed. At less than 0 SP, gain regressive transformation reverse, and lose Here Comes Magical Girl. Okay. So Here Comes Magical Girl. For this turn, this unit uses plus coin attack skills. Base attack skills deal more damage for every love hate on self, and a regressive transformation is using minus coin attack skills. So you'll always start in the positive state. How do you lose SP? Okay, there's nothing in her base skills, so it's definitely in the statuses that I should just, finish reading. Why don't I do that now? Magical Arcana, max stack of 3, base attack skills deal more damage, which we gain this from the first skill 3 after the attack ends. Turn end at X stack, and with Y or higher SP, change SP to Y. So this is your way of literally flipping, skipping out on your bipolar medicine, is Magical Arcana. Mark of Villainy takes more damage from Dawn, applies only to the first target to receive effect in each turn. Okay, I thought there'd be something where, like, if the other allies on her team fight the person with the Mark of Villainy, she'd get upset or something, which is kind of how the Queen of Hatred fight usually works. And also kind of like Captain Ishmael. But sure, Magical Arcana. Fuck it, why not? Let's finish the first passive. This unit's SP cannot drop below X due to the SP loss effects from this unit's base attack skills. Okay. So you can't straight up corrode. That's interesting. I wonder why. Because, I mean, the passive seems to imply that the E.G.O gear sync has been exceeded. Just something I've kind of gathered. Magical Girl of Love, Queen of Hatred, deal more damage for every love-hate. Combat start, gain Magical Arcana. Okay, so this is your other way of gaining Magical Arcana. I assume that's a Resonance passive. I'm also going to assume that the negative coins skills are just more powerful, which the coin spread was 2-2-3, which isn't insane, but also there was a lot of base power conditionals, and love-hate goes up to 20, and it seems like you get a lot of that, so that's probably where a lot of the damage is coming from. Support passive, Magical Power Charging Support. If among allies that gain charge count with their base attack skills, one ally with the least charge count uses a base attack skill that gains charge count, they gain charge count. At 0 or higher SP, heal At 0 or higher SP, heal charge on target times X HP. At less than 0 SP, heal charge on target SP. But that's charge potency, so that's a lot less good. So it's both a charge count support passive and also a HP SP healing support passive. That's very unique. Obviously, with IDs like these, benching them is a pretty big ask, so I wouldn't recommend doing it, just, you know, based on what I'm seeing here. But this is one of those IDs where I think we're gonna have to wait until she's actually fully released to get a grasp on her, because a lot of the power is gonna just depend on how much of her stuff she's inflicting, or how much of her damage is actually there by default or based on conditionals that might be difficult. Yeah, so I assume the Hysteria you need is exactly 3, which I need to remind myself how you gain that, because there's so many things in this kit. Right, if you're below a certain amount of SP, you gain 1 stack. Encounter start, you start with 1, I'm going to assume. So if you don't immediately lose SP, you're gonna immediately lose that Hysteria, so that probably takes a while. And again, I'm assuming this because it specifically says X Hysteria, not X plus Hysteria, which most other things do say that? I guess not in this kit, never mind. Okay, but then again, no, because this is consuming, right? And this is an at X conditional, which usually has an X plus, so I'm going to assume that would be 3, which might take a while to get to, especially because both the skill 2 and the skill 3 evil versions want the Hysteria. Again, there's not many conclusions to draw off of that. It's just an interesting observation. Okay, well, I gotta say, I don't know. Her kit's a lot less complicated than I thought it would be. But again, I don't think this is an ID we can draw conclusions about too early. Now, who I do think will be complicated, based on what I was seeing, is Knight of Despair Rodion, which, again, I'm sorry about the quality, especially because, of course, actually this ID has 8 skills, because, you know, Don only had 7, so we really need to up the ante here. My god. Actually, reasonable sin spread, not a bunch of envy like Don had. Skill 1, regular. The Knight's Sanctuary. The target has X plus sinking, gain coin power. At X plus protecting sword, gain clash power. Okay, so based on the trailer, by the way, I expect this ID to be similar to Linton Gregor, but also that might not be true. It's just they look so similar in vibe and archetype and all of that, and this sin spread is not really helping. On hit inflict sinking, on hit inflict sinking, on hit gain deep tears, gain additional deep tears for every X protecting swords. I'm assuming that's the swords I saw like circling around her in the trailer. Go to with the power of justice. That's the other girl's thing. If target has X plus sinking, gain coin power, gain clash power for every X protecting sword. On use at X plus deep tears, consume X deep tears to deal more damage. On hit inflict sinking, on hit inflict sinking, on hit gain deep tears, gain additional deep tears equal to protecting sword. Okay, pretty standard so far. Arcana Pierce, skill 3, 3 coins. If target has X plus sinking, gain coin power, gain clash power for every X protecting sword. On use at X plus deep tiers, consume up to Y deep tiers, deal plus stack consumed times X more damage, gain base power for every X stack consumed. Okay, and we gain assumedly a lot of those, so that's not a hard resource to build up. After attack, if the target is defeated, regain half of deep tiers consumed by this skill. Okay. On hit, inflict sinking count. First bit of sinking count, by the way. And only bit of sinking count, at least on this side of the skills. I don't know how we get to the other side yet. I didn't even think she would have 8 skills based on the trailer, but maybe I wasn't looking too hard. If this unit has tier sharpened or has consumed it with this coin, deal more damage. On hit, inflict sinking equal to protecting sword. Okay, I don't know what to think of that yet. And of course, a clashable guard, the Knight's Faith. Combat start, gain coin power for every X protecting sword, gain shield equal to SP divided by X% of this unit's max HP. On use, gain deep tiers. Turn end at less than 3 tier sharpened. Lose SP and gain tier sharpened. If this unit has tier sharpened, lose tier sharpened stack times X more SP. Okay. that's annoying to say over and over again. Tier sharpened. So that's, I assume, like the blessing thing that the knight gave in LobCorp? Anyways, the alternative skill 1, Fated Faith, gain final power for every X sinking on target. Okay, so I am, lose SP as well. So these are negative. So 2 partially negative coin IDs. Inflict sinking, gain deep tiers, and same thing. With the tier sharpened sword, skill 2, 3 coins, gain final power for every X sinking on target, lose SP. Okay, there is more sinking count on the 3rd coin. And you gain deep tiers, and on combat start, gain additional deep tiers equal to piercing sword this unit had at combat start. Why is that on the very end? That should be at the beginning of the skill. Why is that after the on hit? Or is that meant to be next combat start? That's very bizarre. Okay. That makes it look like it's a coin 3 conditional, which I don't know if that's intentional. If it is, and it happens next turn, that should be a lot clearer. Huh. Anyway, skill 3 3 coins, same as before. Gain final power for every X sinking on target. On use, lose SP. Same stuff, inflict sinking count. This is literally the same except for the 3rd coin. Does not inflict sinking equal to protecting sword, but instead, if it consumed tier sharpened, reuse coin once, so a 4 coin skill. And she has a clashable counter because, yes, Weathered Pride, which is a gloom skill. Combat start, gain final power for every X piercing sword. On use, gain deep tiers. Turn end at less than 3 tier sharpened. Okay, this is the exact same thing as the guard, but you inflict sinking on the 2 coins. Okay. Again, there's not much of a picture painted on just these skills, but don't you worry, because we've got plenty more where that came from, because holy shit, this is a kit in of itself. There's fucking 5! Why are there 5 passives in my Limbus company identity? How are like all of these like always active passives, or are they all different resonances? Because that's interesting if so. But also, like, what the why are there 5? Okay, sure. Sword sharpened with tears, alert E.G.O gear sync threshold exceeded, turn start at 0 or higher SP, gain blessing, which blessing is turn start, gain protecting sword for every X SP, which protecting sword is the whole thing that gives us the clash power, and inflicting sinking, and some deep tiers on the skill 1 and 2. Okay, that's valuable. When clash ends, inflict sinking, okay. When hit, inflict sinking on the attacker. I expected something like this. I wanted her to be kind of like a thorns damage kind of ID, considering like the sword spinning around her. For every XSP, inflict Y more sinking potency with above effects. Considering that like half her skills are, because there's a negative version. It's called despair. But yeah, that's interesting considering her positive coin effects are probably weaker than the negative coins. It's usually just how it goes. Replaces unit's base skills with plus coin skills. Okay, so same thing as Queen of Hatred Dawn. Protecting Sword is gaining defense level up for every stack. You gain aggro to the leftmost skill slot, max stack of 5. So 5 defense level up, so pretty much worthless, but it's thematic. Despair, which is gained at less than 0 SP on turn start. You gain Piercing Sword for every X SP, which is used on... the negative coin skills. So Protecting Sword is the plus coin skill version, and Piercing Sword is the negative version, which makes sense. When Clash ends, inflicts Sinking Count. Ooh. On hit with the first coin of a base attack skill, inflicts Sinking Count. For every X SP, inflicts Y more Sinking Count with above effects. Okay, that's a lot more solid. And Piercing Sword gives offense level up, which is much more significant. Turn start, negative stack times X aggro. We're finally... Okay. Kim Ji-hoon, let's talk. You can have 5 passives on your identity, but when you add a she identity into the game, because you've teased that, considering you made Queen of Hatred wear that shit, if you don't add a she identity, everyone's gonna be mad, because don't fucking tease us like that without following through. But this is the mechanic they should have, not the fucking 50% thing. They should be unopposed assassins that are unseen and untargeted. That's a cool mechanic. I like that. So she's meant to be hit during the blessing phase, because she gains aggro with Protecting Sword, and she gets a benefit for being hit, and then she turns to the offensive. That's very cool. Okay, I like that a lot. Tear Sharpened. Turn start, gain Deep Tears. At 3 stack, gain additional Deep Tears, which is unique charge. Turn end, lose stack times X SP. Okay. How do we get this exactly? This is via the defense skill, maybe? Yes. This is gained via either the Clashable Guard or the Clashable Counter. Base attack skills deal stack times X% more damage. If this unit has Blessing, gain Clash power up by the effect stack. If this unit has Despair, gain Pierce power up by the effect stack. Okay. I like a lot how they are doing different things with the different set of skills. It doesn't feel as tacked on as something like, forgive me when I say this, like Manager Dawn, kind of, where it's like, oh, you have to have this identity, otherwise you don't get this skill. This is like you have 2 distinct modes, and it's a different thing from like Don E.G.O, right? Where you have to reach this conditional and then it goes away eventually. It seems like you can control this better, and it's meant to be swapped between more clearly, and also there's downsides and positives to both things, unlike Don Claire, where you almost always want to be in the ego state. I don't think there's ever a reason to be in his little stupid form. So, yeah, that's cool by me. Anyways, we're back to the very first passive. When gaining charge count, gain Deep Tears instead. Deep Tears is unaffected by charge potency. I wish that Love-Hate specified that, because I don't know what Love-Hate does still in terms of like the potency count stuff, but whatever. Okay, second passive, Whispers of the Betrayed Knight. This unit's SP does not drop below -40 from the following effects: SP loss from this unit's base skills, SP loss effects from allied units' support passives, Linton Gregor is being kept in check there, SP loss effects from Tear Sharpened, SP loss effects from ally death in this unit's base factors decreasing sanity. In an encounter, when this unit takes damage that brings its SP to -45, maintain this unit's SP at -44 for that turn once per encounter. This applies only to SP damages. It does not apply to SP changes or SP consuming abilities like ego skills. Huh. They have this interesting like anti-corrosion in their kit that I really didn't expect. She doesn't have any self-syncing though. I don't think I saw any self-syncing. Surely I didn't read that wrong, right? Inflict syncing? Yeah, it's all inflict syncing from what I'm seeing here. So I guess it's just if you happen to have syncing on you, or that's like from something that I missed? No? Maybe just a countermeasure? Her third passive is Break, Tear, or Tear. It really could be either, and Pierce. If this unit has Piercing Sword before hitting an enemy with a base attack skill, consume Piercing Sword to inflict sinking. Ah. Okay. but assumedly this is like resonance and you can choose not to do it or something. If this unit has X plus piercing sword before this turn's final base attack skill's final coin hits, so before the final skill you use, final coin, before the last skill you would use on a turn finishes its final coin, you consume all of your piercing sword to inflict it as sinking. Okay. If this unit has 3 tiers sharpened, before hitting an enemy with the final coin of a base attack skill, consume all tiers sharpened to inflict sinking and sinking count. Okay, mini Rhyme Shank, deal more damage with that coin. Interesting. It seems like you don't really want to consume tier sharpened, maybe? It's a pretty good effect. I mean, Clash power up, Pierce power up, you do lose some SP, but you can't even fully corrode from it. Like, the fact that you are very consistently going to be at about this like -40, -30 range because of Clash win sanity, unless that's changed, which there's no way of telling from the actual kit reveal if there's any like factors changing sanity differences. But it's a consistency that negative IDs were always going to need, but at the same time we haven't gotten any. We had Wild Hunt, like, use one skill that's negative and that's it. And he doesn't have that same consistency. You have to do some kind of jank things to get his best damage out of LMD. It's part of the fun of using him, of course, but this is, I think, a more modern take on the negative SP idea, and it's been far too long. I think we were long overdue for more negative coin stuff. Magical Girl of Justice, Knight of Despair. Oh, right, I guess she is a Magical Girl of Justice. Forget what I said before about, like, that being Dawn's thing. I mean, it is more so Dawn's thing, but whatever. When in the Blessing State, take minus your SP divided by X% HP damage from attacks. So less HP damage, but it's a percentage, not a flat number. Okay. A flat number might be better there. Well, hey. You also get protection. Combat start at X plus protecting sword, gain protection. Combat start at 5 protecting sword. They actually give us a number. Huh. I guess that's because it's the max stack, right? Yeah. Gain more protection and Clash power up instead. That is just a passive benefit. Well, passive benefit. But also we don't know if this is like Resonance, so it might not be passive. Who fucking knows how 5 passives are going to work? I mean, obviously this one's always active, but I mean, sure, it's 4 passives, plus the support passive. When in the Despair State, deal plus your negative SP divided by X% more damage with base skills. At X plus Piercing Sword, gain damage up. 5 Piercing Sword, gain more damage up and power up instead. That's pretty powerful. She might be dealing some pretty damn good damage, especially because, like, it's the negative coin that gets reused, right? In her skill 3 too. Yeah, this is the negative version. If this coin consumed Tear Sharpened, how do you get it to consume Tear Sharpened? Ah, okay, I found it. I totally just I read this and I didn't fully digest it. If this unit has 3 Tear Sharpened before hitting an enemy with the final coin of a base attack skill, consume all Tear Sharpened. Okay, that's what it is. So you specifically want to save your 3 Tear Sharpened for the skill 3-2, because that is definitely the most value you're going to get out about that, because it's a 4 coin skill that'll deal more damage and inflict Rhyme Shank effects, which is good. Okay, for support massive, for all those who despair, combat start applies to the ally with the earliest deployment order. At X or less SP, minus skill coins gain final power. At Y or less SP, minus skill coins gain final power and deal more damage. Okay, I mean, that's cool, but at the same time, that works on like 4 identities in the game. 5 if you count Insult, but you're never gonna be negative SP with Insult. So, cool. Hopefully that's a sign we're getting more negative SP IDs, because I think this is pretty cool. There's a lot of text like a lot. I don't think there needs to be this much text on any ID ever. Like, this is crazy. The fact that there is 2 entirely full pages, like 8 skills, and then 5 passives. Is that not a little bit fucking nuts? The fact we've evolved, and obviously, like, people have talked about this endlessly, but we've evolved from, Rodia's kit, which is on screen right now, a really in-depth kit with a lot of things to explain to what you're seeing now. And believe it or not, we're not even done, which is crazy, because we still have the E.G.O, which is in the name of love and hate. Don Quixote does evolve E.G.O, 2 unbreakable coins. Before attack, apply Magical Girl's Chant to X plus Envy Resonance divided by Y random other allies. She can give Magical Girl power to Sun Shower Heathcliff, and he can be filled with the power of whimsy. That's a hilarious image in my mind. Magical Girl's Chant, max stack of 2. When this unit gains this effect, gain attack power up and damage up. Wow. This unit's attack skills that gain or consume charge count gain final power. I expect lunacy, and deal more damage. That's pretty powerful. That's really good. Especially because a lot of charge IDs do have a lot of envy. That's a powerful effect. If this unit has Here Comes Magical Girl, apply Magical Girl's Chant to Z plus Envy Resonance divided by W random other allies instead. Nice. We got to we got to the W variable. I think the highest we got was V in Manager Dawn's kit, but W is pretty good. For attack, gain charge, potency, I assume, minus X attack weight. If this unit has Here Comes Magical Girl, gain charge attack weight instead, okay. Very much meant to be used with Queen of Hatred Dawn, unsurprisingly. After attack, consume all charge count on self to heal. It's a healing E.G.O. X plus Envy Resonance divided by Y allies with the least HP by charge count consumed percentage HP. So that can be up to 20. After attack, if this unit is Lobotomy E.G.O, in the name of love and hate Don Quixote, gain Magical Arcana. First coin is Unbreakable, gain charge count. Second coin is Unbreakable, inflict Mark of Villainy on the main target next turn, so you can actually get that without being Queen of Hatred Dawn. Inflict charge minus X Rupture. If this unit has Here Comes Magical Girl, inflict Rupture count. Okay. Maximized Reversed Arcana Slave, Erasure of Hatred. Wow. That's a bit dramatic, don't you think? Before attack, gain attack weight by charge. If this unit has Regressive Transformation reversed, gain attack weight by charge plus X instead. That's a lot of attack weight. Before attack, consume all charge count, deal more damage for every charge count consumed. If the target has Mark of Villainy, deal more damage for every charge. If the unit has Hysteria, deal even more damage for every charge. Deal more damage for every X Envy Resonance. Lose base power for every cracked coin. Okay, that's actually not on this one. Because it's positive, of course. That makes sense. After attack, if this unit is Lobotomy E.G.O in the name of love and hate Don Quixote, gain Hysteria. First coin is Unbreakable, gain charge count, and this is all the same except for it is sinking, and you inflict sinking count instead of rupture count. I have a feeling she won't be very good at either of these archetypes, but I could be wrong. I think Rodion will be very good at sinking, because obviously she has Rhyme Shank, if nothing else, but also just based on the amount of conditionals, there is no way that she doesn't inflict a good amount of sinking potency and count. But I'm not sure about Dawn. I think she'll struggle in that sense. But she'll probably just have really good damage to make up for it, I hope. But also Rodion has better coins, so who knows. Arcana Aptitude Circuit, gain charge every time this unit consumes X cumulative charge count. If this unit already gains charge by consuming charge count on self, this unit does not stack with that. Look, this effect does not stack with that effect. Is that future proofing for a Dawn ID that uses charge potency? I assume. Or no, because that does happen in her kit. Again, the love-hate stuff being unique charge and not being clear on what is like the potency and count is very confusing. This unit's base attack skills that consume charge count to deal more damage for recharge on self. If this unit is Sorry. If this unit is Lobotomy E.G.O in the name of Love and Hate Don Quixote, gain additional skill 3 use. What? Like she gets a skill 3 added to her skill bag? That's a bit silly, don't you think? So yeah, all that stuff I was saying about like damage and all that on Dawn, yeah, never mind. This E.G.O kind of solves that, doesn't it? I mean, if we thought Regret Merceau was a crazy E.G.O that has never really been topped in terms of an E.G.O passive that has such massive impact on the ID, this is very specifically for Name of Love and Hate Don Quixote, and it would have been hilarious if it was any Don, because that can be really silly. But I understand limiting it, but at the same time, it's less fun. That is crazy, though. Again, I get why this is only on Love and Hate Don Quixote, but it'd be pretty funny if you could just, you know, give any Don an additional skill 3 by using the funny Miku Miku beam. God damn. I've been recording for 42 minutes, what the fuck? I haven't even, like, talked about the IDs properly. Okay. Let me gather my thoughts real quick about these IDs. And give some closing thoughts if I can manage to scrape them together, because there's so much text here. Okay. So, I didn't really do much thinking, frankly. I've just been looking at this skill, obviously. Because, you know, she just gets 2 of those. I mean, 2 of these as well. Which, Magical Arcana isn't nearly as difficult to get, especially if you use the E.G.O, because the E.G.O does give you Magical Arcana if you are, you know, this identity, which you probably are if you're using this skill. The fact you can get 2 of these, I mean, it's not going to have the same numbers as, like, a Self-Destructive Purge, but it'll probably be like about a 20 base power if I had to guess, with like all these conditionals taken into account. And the fact you get 2 of those is just a little silly, don't you think? You can't like spam them because of this turn end effect, which will bring your SP back up to something better, right? But even this skill is probably pretty good. So yeah, I don't know what to think of her. I think she's very wacky for a charge ID. For what is like pretty blatantly just a charge ID. Does that make sense? Like, yes, she's got the flip-flop mechanic, but like her core mechanic is just gaining and losing charge or consuming charge. Whereas Rodion, yeah, I think Rodion is more unique in the sense of like she's got the protecting sword, she's got the piercing sword, she's got a lot of sinking potency on the positive side of things, and a lot of sinking count on the negative side of things. And then obviously the Tear Sharpened is a mix of both mini Rhyme Shank, and to top it all off, you have regular Rhyme Shank that you can still use. And you fuel Rhyme Shank really well, because you have to use these defensive skills at some point to get your Tear Sharpened going, which you obviously want, because your skill 3-2 is probably an insane nuke when you have that online. And to top it all off, she probably has, like, pretty good HP, because she's meant to take some hits in the positive coin side. Welcome back to Ecchi Rodion, I guess. And then this E.G.O is just... I mean, nothing here really matters, right? It's just all about the fact that you get an additional skill 3 use. But even then, like, Magical Girl's chant is... if nothing else, 1 attack power up and 1 damage up is... you're clashing 1 better and you're dealing 10% more damage for 2 turns. That's pretty solid. And also, if it costs a significant amount of Envy resources, a lot of teams have Envy in absolute spades, so you can just spam this, maybe. Not that you even probably need to. Oh, interestingly, actually, this is the first VoV E.G.O since Garden of Thorns to not have the, consume SP over a period of turns thing. I could be wrong. Let me double check that Rodion's Wa doesn't do that. Okay, no. Indican's Trial also does that. So yeah, this is the first VOV E.G.O in quite some time to not have that mechanic. So I wonder if it will just consume less, or if the downside is meant to be the SP, which would make a lot of sense considering Queen of Hatred Dawn's mechanic of flip-flopping between positive and negative. Okay. I think I've said about all I have to say. I feel like this is the most scatterbrained kit review I've done. I feel like I always had a through line on the previous ones I've done, but this is just a lot of reading, a lot of back and forth, and I apologize. These are meant to sort of clarify the kits to you, and I hope they make a bit more sense now. Queen of Hatred Dawn is like a very relatively basic charge ID that just relies on using her unique stuff to swap between positive and negative, which all that seems like it'll happen pretty naturally anyways. And you get a second skill 3 if you use the E.G.O. Rodion is an elevated version of that same concept, where instead of just being based on the charge mechanic, you also have the tier sharpened to give you more of your archetype. She's much more focused within that archetype, and the E.G.O, of course, is extra skill 3. And also, you know, the silly magical girl chant, which can be applied to anybody in the game to make you think of them doing a cute magical girl dance. Yeah, I look forward to seeing how Queen of Hatred Dawn turns out. I kind of have my expectations high for Rodion. I don't know what to expect for Dawn, especially with this. They might have lowered her skill 3. Who am I kidding? There's no way that her skill 3 isn't going to be super strong regardless, because it's Walpurgisnacht and they are allowed to make things strong, and also it's Queen of fucking Hatred. So, what's going on in the background there? Why is that like a mouth? Is it the dragon? Yeah, that's okay. That's Queen of Hatred dragon. What a silly little E.G.O there. Okay. Wow, I've been recording for like an hour. I'm super fucking tired. Yeah. This video ends now. Hi, Mina. It's me, Magical Girl-esque. I should not use this as an intro.